Beautiful friends, hello.
Happy Thursday.
Yes, and welcome to Unlock Your Worth. This is a little training adventure that we're going on today. Jason and I are coming to you from
Bordeaux,
the south of France, and we're so happy to be here with you guys. Feel free to chime in and just share who you are and where you are from. We're going to be moving through today's training fairly swiftly because we have a 20-25 minute window today. But basically, you are in the right place if there is something in your life. You kind of feel like you're in Groundhog's Day, where some area of your life, there's a pattern, a really challenging pattern that keeps repeating and repeating.
Again and again and again and again.
And again. No matter what you try, no matter what you do, the same thing keeps happening. So there is a very good reason for that.
Has anybody had that happen to them?
I just had that happen myself. I just broke through a pretty big pattern in my life, which is what prompted us to share this because it's such a powerful tool that we're going to be sharing today, a transformational tool that I definitely utilized this past week and really the past few weeks, and it's been very, very beneficial. Woohoo! And Pacific Northwest. So if you haven't already seen the video I just posted, it was a live stream called Am I Capable? That's where I share my personal story. I'm not going to get too deep into the story right now. Just going to say that, personally, I, for the last couple years in my business, have been growing pretty fast. And some of you may know that Jason and I are now collaborating and we're doing incredible things with our soul-centered work. And I've done everything. Actually, we really both have done everything ourselves. We've never gone to an outside coach or have hired any kind of business guidance or mentors to lead us. And really the last couple of years, I've had this itch to get support from the outside, and at the same time I had judgments that it's more noble to just do it myself. So really, really long story short, I had a coach I wanted to work with a couple of years ago. I kept putting it off because I had some of my own Groundhog Day issues going on, and I just kept putting it off, didn't hire the coach, and now that particular coach isn't even available to work with privately. And anyway, but I ended up signing up for a program that is a wonderfully abundant investments, and it pushed my edges to say yes to, but I did. I broke through an old pattern, and now amazing things have been happening ever since I made that choice. So
here we are.
Here we are. So are you ready to make today the day that you break through a pattern and set your worth free, set your innate value free? I will say that whatever it is that's going on for you, wherever you are, whether you feel like you're stuck in a rut or you're thriving or somewhere in between, on a deeper level, we're all of it, right? Like one isn't actually better than the other.
It's the bottom line is, can you love yourself for who you are and where you are right now, no matter what?
No matter what.
So all of the inner work that we're guiding, and really anybody else is guiding, whether they say it or not, the core piece is to love and accept yourself for where you are, who you are right now.
And the irony is, without actually loving and accepting where you are right now, there's no way to actually get to where you want to go. Mm-hmm. So that's such an important piece here. That's not what we're talking about today, but it's important to lay that foundation that where you are right now is where you're meant to be. It's where we're meant to be. So just to embrace where we are. So before we dive in, we're going to dive into the 5 keys to unlocking your worth. So if you could just grab a pen, grab a journal, grab a cup of tea, whatever you need to get comfortable. But most importantly, just if you could go into uninterrupted space and really hone in for these next 20 minutes and give yourself permission to receive the highest level of value, to open up to a transformation.
And have the willingness of not knowing. It's always great to be able to, no matter how much you know or how much you out there guide and support and teach others, we all can benefit from being the student. So step into the student space as though you know nothing.
Yes. And that's for us too.
Yes.
That guidance
exactly.
is always for us
That's
too.
That's why we have teachers and choose to keep them.
Yes, and truly, we don't even know what's going to happen right now. So,
that was her leg going out to the side, by the way.
Okay, so here's the thing, preliminary thing to think about before we go into the 5 keys. The reason why you or me or we are not reaching the thing that we want is because consciously, our conscious mind is only 10% of our mind, of our, brain, really. 90% of the actions that we actually take in life are driven by our unconscious, which is basically 90% of our actions. It's 90% of what we're thinking about. 90% of what runs the show in our life comes from the unconscious, okay? So think about this for a minute. Consciously, you may want something. Unconsciously, 90% of you may be very clear that you don't want that thing. So I'll give you an example. Our unconscious mind and the beliefs that our lives are built upon ultimately take shape during our first 6 years of life, especially our youngest years. So let's say you want more money, more wealth, more abundance in your business or in your life. You saw mom and dad fighting as kids with money in their hands or the checkbook. They're throwing the checkbook, throwing the money. Unconsciously, money creates battle. I don't want battle. I don't want to fight. I don't want money. So it's not conscious. It's just in there very subtly, yet very powerfully driving what's actually taking shape. So when this happens so much with clients who reach out, they want to do sessions. We've both experienced this a million times.
Unbelievable.
And right before we're going to book our session, they cancel. They cancel because of family emergency, a flat tire, or whatever it is.
A broken arm, etc. Anything that's going wrong, and any obstacle is a reason why not to rather than why to.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about why that happens, how the unconscious actually magnetizes that to us. Okay?
Yes.
So important to just think about that. Consciously, you may want something, but unconsciously, which is what we're going to work with today, it's important to know how to go into the unconscious and mine up the belief systems so that we can actually move forward with grace. So the first key, and it's so good seeing you guys pop in here.
Yeah,
Yes.
I want to say hello to everybody. I've seen some names I recognize and some I don't, but hello to all of you.
Jessica, who I've known since I was a little kid, and Lauren Kimmel. Oh my goodness. Okay, so first key to unlocking your worth. Okay, so the first question is, if you could just get out your pen and write down, what is it that you really want to create in your life? Something that you've been struggling with. Like, what is that one area of your life you've been struggling with? And just write that down. It might be your relationship, it might be your weight, it might be your health, it might be your job, it might be your finances. There might be several things going on, all right? Just choose one for today, and you can always go back to this video and work some other area of your life. So what is that one area? Oh, we got Shirley Joy in the house. Ah, Jessica. So on a scale of 1 to 10, again, we're going to move fairly swiftly, so just write down the questions that we're asking so that you can sit with this longer after we depart.
You have some time to really immerse in it.
Yeah. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you need this to change? How much do you need this area to change? If you could just write down 1 being, not so much, 10 being, if I don't change this today, I'm going to scream at the top of my lungs or something worse.
And if it's like a 3 or a 4, maybe there's something else on your list that you may want to address. You want to look for the one that's a number of an 8, 9, or 10 if possible.
Yes.
But if not, then we work with the low-hanging fruit.
Yes. Number 2, on a scale of 1 to 10, how possible is it that you can actually transform this area? How possible is it that you think it is that you can transform this particular area? Rasmus is here. Janae is here.
Wow.
So how possible is it on a scale of 1 to 10 that you can actually transform this? Do you believe it's possible for you? Okay. Third question. What is in the way of you achieving this thing? What is in the way of you achieving your ideal weight? Or what is in the way of you being in a healthy relationship? Or what is in the way of you having more than enough in your bank account to save money and to flourish and to feel at peace?
So read the 3 again, just for those who just
stepping in.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you could just choose an area of your life you really want to transform right now, okay? Write it down, just choose one area. On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it that you actually transform this in your life right now? Second question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how possible do you think this is for you? 10 being totally possible, I can do this. 1 being, I don't think I will ever get there. And it's important, be honest here, be really super honest, because the more honest you are, the easier we can work with the unconscious, with the beliefs that are going on. The third question is, what is in the way that you're aware of at this point? What is in the way of you achieving this? So let's say that you want to be at your optimal weight. What is in the way of you doing that? Is it that you're surrounded by people who eat terrible food? Is it that you eat like super late at night? Or, what is in the way? Are you super stressed and it's the one thing, food is the one thing that, relaxes you or grounds you? If it's relationship, what is in the way of, you living in your prime relationship? Maybe you're married right now and your husband won't, let you out of the divorce, or, whatever that is for you. There can be really specific things. Get as specific as possible. And once you clarify, if you can look at the list of things that are in the way, actually take at least 20 seconds here, but you'll probably want more time after this training.
You'll want a lot more time just with those questions.
Yeah. If we were in the Coach Mastery Lab, we'd be giving you some space here, but we have 20 minutes. So what is in the way of you achieving this goal, of you living this reality? Write down a few of those answers.
All right, so go ahead.
Yeah, and just one last thing before we dive in. If you had several answers, just circle the one that feels the most prominent, the biggest obstacle in your life right now to achieving this goal. What feels like the most disappointing? It's just like, God, why is this obstacle in the way?
Yeah. So you want to choose one obstacle. So you want to get it down to 1. So if you already have written down 3 or 4 or 5, or when you get to this, there's 3 or 4 or 5, you want to get it down to 1. So choose the biggest one, the one that seems like the biggest boulder in the way of you actually realizing your dream or your intention. We want to get there, okay?
Yes.
So now with that one thing, that thing is what seems to be a limitation, or what's keeping you from recognizing or realizing your dream. So what happens in the unconscious is we embed what we call LLCs, limiting life contracts. These are living contracts inside of us that actually inform how we perceive the world and how the world shows up to us, because how we perceive the world is how the world's going to show up to us. So these limiting life contracts are the contracts that keep us bound to an old way of being, or an archaic way of being that's bound to really a story from our past, often from childhood, sometimes from other lifetimes, etc. But we're focusing on right now. So what is that contract right now? So that obstacle, if you could write it in a contract, how would it be? So let's give a few examples.
Yeah, and I'll give the personal example if you guys saw the video. So I had a belief in my mind that women can't succeed financially. I had a belief that men can be powerful financially, but women, first of all, I had a belief that it's more noble to struggle, to really fight so hard and to prove how hard you're working in order to just show how noble you are. Another belief I had running because of the females in my life, the matriarch and beyond, I had this belief that if I'm a woman, I'll never actually get out of struggle. So these were like really, really deeply embedded beliefs that overflow is not something that a woman could ever experience unless, so here's like for Jace, for your question, a contract, an example, an LLC would be the only way that I'll ever have more than enough is if I marry a rich man. Or the only way that I'll ever have more than enough is if I struggle and work myself to the bone and give up my real dreams.
So continue. I'm reading off of my list here. the life I want will never happen because ... I will never have the money to pursue what I love because I don't deserve it, or nobody really can do this. So it's the obstacle is there's a belief pattern embedded in the obstacle. So that obstacle should give you a way into what is your belief around that obstacle, or around why you can't have the dream that you meet. So let's say that obstacle is not having the money, right? But the belief pattern around it is something like, what is it something like? You said, because I have to struggle and fight so hard to be able to make it. So I'm going to be working myself to the bone in order to make every dollar I need to live.
To prove how powerful I am, or whatever it is. Or the clients that cancel right before a session and they're super excited to work with us, or you coaches out there probably know what we're talking about. An example of this is likely an LLC, like Jason was saying. That LLC, or that unconscious contract, it's like a magnet. So what it does is it will literally attract experiences to you that match that belief. So, it's just so hard. It will never be easy. It will always be hard. I will never get a break. It's just so obvious. Women aren't meant to blah, blah, blah. A client that cancels right before, it's like, what's happening is they're about to break into a new possibility by hiring a coach. They're going to transform their lives. Things are going to shift, right? That unconscious belief is like, hell no. This is the comfort zone. So it's like a magnet that wants to keep you in that place of safety.
The ego is attracting you back to the place that it already knows. It feels safe there.
The comfort zone.
Yeah.
So the beauty of looking at the LLC is that we're looking at our biggest limitation in the face, which actually shines the light on what's been magnetizing those limitations to us.
And this is what the shamans, what they'll call the shamans do in a soul retrieval. They'll actually go deep down into the unconscious of their client and pull out what has been lost, has been forgotten. And so what we're doing is we're diving deep into our subconscious and drawing out the contract that is time to be transformed. Right?
Yes.
And that's the limiting life contract.
Yes.
Okay?
So if you do feel like you've been in that groundhog loop, it's just a sign that there's an LLC in there. There's a limiting life contract in there that's just magnetizing those same experiences no matter what you try.
So now we need to take the time. So as you go back through this later, you need to take the time to actually really write out what is that limiting life contract. You may even discover you're writing out 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, so write down that question. What is the limiting life contract that has been keeping you stuck, that has been keeping you caught in some Groundhog Day experience, right? So again, a really simple prompt is just write down, the only way I'll ever have blank is if I blank. That's a nice kind of structure to a limited contract. The only way I'll ever have more than enough is if I work myself to the bone.
Yeah.
The only way I'll ever have blank, a beautiful, thriving relationship, is if I hide parts of me. The only way I'll ever have the dream perfect body is if I starve myself and am like super unhealthy.
So there's almost always, not always, but often you only can get what you want based on getting something that you don't want, or have to do something that you don't want, or live a way that you don't want to, or that doesn't support you in thriving.
Yes. Bonsoir, Rosanna.
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir. So just make sure to write that out. The only way I'll ever have blank is if I blank. Really important to go back to that after our call, or do that as we are moving on here. To number 3. So now, really important to, wow. I mean, I wish we had an hour with you guys so we could take the time.
We would really dive into this. But when you get to this place and you really unearth the LLC, this is actually really big, because you've actually unearthed something in that 90%, what's underneath the ocean of that iceberg, and you're bringing it to the surface. So this is actually big work. And so if you don't reach it right now, we're not expecting you to get it on the call, because we're going fast.
Yeah.
But when you get to this point, take it in, and then before you go to this next place,
take a breath.
Yeah.
Because imagine what we're seeing the tip of the iceberg. When you're doing this work, you're looking at the limiting life contract. You're, like Jason said, you're raising that entire iceberg to the surface. So sometimes, I know when I was doing this, I felt really freaking tired and I wanted to just stop. That is a sign, that's a really good sign to take a breath. And shake it off, do a little dance for a moment, shake, Mwah, just shake your body, do whatever you need to do. Yes, just like that. Take a breath, inhale it in, exhale out, and just imagine this waterfall flushing through you, clearing out the limitation, clearing out the limiting contract, clearing out anything that no longer serves you, clearing out this spider web of disempowerment that is now gone, just clearing that away, okay? Yes. Then when you're ready, take as long as you want with your meditation, with your breath work, with your waterfall imagery, with your singing and dancing, and then we're going to move into the third key to unlocking your worth, okay?
And if at this point you want to, however you can touch into really stepping into positivity, feeling a high vibration, thinking of something in your past that may bring back an experience that brings you joy, brings you vivaciousness, excitement, happiness.
Yeah, we just did this in the women's circle and it was freaking awesome.
I felt like I was a little bit there.
Yes. So the next piece. So take your time with this. If you have clarified your LLC, feel free to write it in the comments if you feel comfortable doing that. It'll give others an understanding of how it's written, how it's done. Might spring some ideas for them. So the third, okay? Yes. After you take a breath and really acknowledge yourself for taking the time and doing this work, now it's time to actually re-script that contract. And this is what we call the TLC, okay? So we're moving from the limiting life contract into the transformational living contract. We're moving into a much more nurturing belief system, a much more nurturing perspective, a much more nurturing agreement with life.
A way to be supportive for you to embody and live the truth of who you are.
Yes, because you're freaking amazing. That's why. And it's time that we set ourselves free, right? The more of us who are doing this work, the more of us who are choosing to stand up in our light, in our love, in our joy, in our beauty, in our magic.
Hallelujah.
The more miracles we can create on a collective. So now we're going to basically turn around the LLC. So it's turning around that limiting life contract. So if you were to rewrite this LLC in a supportive, positive, anything is possible kind of contract, what would it be? So
completely empowering. There's no limitation in the contract. It's all positive. It's all guiding you and supporting you and embodying and living the truth of who you are and the dreams that you choose to live, to experience.
So for the example I gave earlier, in order to be, what was it?
We already
The only way I'll ever have enough is if I work myself to the bone and give up my real dreams, something like that. So that's the limiting contract. So the way I would transform that is, I have everything it takes to create my own wealth. Or let's use the limiting contract of, if I want to have more than enough wealth, I have to marry a wealthy man. Or if I want to have more than enough wealth, I have to work myself to the bone and destroy my joy. So the new contract would be, I have everything it takes to create my own wealth. Abundance is all around me. It's all completely within me, and I am open to joyfully earning and receiving more than enough now. Abundance is all around me and within me, and I am open to joyfully, not working myself to the bone like a crazy pants. I am open to joyfully.
Okay, she may still be a crazy pants afterwards, but just a little less.
Crazy pants. Okay, so abundance is all around me and within me, and I am open to joyfully earning and receiving more than enough right now, okay?
Right now.
So what is that TLC for you? There are a million that you could write.
Yes.
So you can think of this as a declaration. It's really more than an affirmation, though. It is, because we've looked at this underlying contract?
I'll tell you a quick story. A Hawaiian shaman said to a friend of mine once, he said, yeah, affirmations are great, but it's like digging the hole with a spoon. He said, there's other ways. And this is one of those other ways. This is like using a tractor, okay? You're unearthing the unconscious, which you could do positive affirmations all day long, but you're focusing on the 10%, not the 90%.
Yeah.
So we're unearthing the 90% and bringing it all to the light and working from there. So rather than using a spoon of an affirmation, we're using a tractor of unearthing the unconscious, bringing it to consciousness, and then offering it to source.
Yeah.
So that's where we're headed.
Yeah, and if this part of moving into the TLC doesn't feel possible for you, you're like, I'm just stuck in the limitation right now or something like that, there are many ways to do this, but in the Diamond Process book, you can definitely check out step 5. It's the chapter that's all about clearing limiting beliefs. So it really goes into powerful forgiveness and powerful, I call it a obstacle clearing statement, where you go in there and you actually clear out the obstacles, clear out what I call the rubble, the repressed unconscious beliefs.
And Tiffany, what you're saying about if you get a divorce, you may lose your children. I mean, this is very big and very profound and very, very big at risk. If we had time to specifically guide you, it would be, what's the story behind this? Okay, so not facing exactly this story, but what's the pattern behind this? So the pattern behind this is going to be relating to something that has been going on your entire life, a belief system that connects you to being bound, seemingly bound to this man, seemingly bound to this relationship. And if you separate from this relationship and embody the joy that you know you deserve, you're going to lose something. Okay, so where does that come from? Where do you, in order to really live the life that you choose, you have to lose something so great as your children. So where's that pattern of, in order for you to get the joy and happiness that you know you deserve, you have to lose something so great that you'll never be able to be happy. So where that kind of patterning, you want to look at that patterning and that contract and start to address the contract rather than what's outside in this piece that's very tangible. We want to get to the unconscious behind the conscious of what you're aware of. Okay?
Yeah, that's powerful. Just even reflecting on that question in your journal, when was the first time in my life I realized that in order to have what I truly want, I have to give up a part of myself. I have to give up something that matters to me so deeply.
That I'll never be able to probably enjoy what I deserve to enjoy.
Right. Right.
Okay. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, and I would just put on music, whip out a beautiful, spacious white journal, and just go to town. Just like really write it out. And I know you, Tiffany, you got some magic.
You got some juice there.
Yes.
All right, so next piece.
So now that you have written the new contract, so a really simple way of rewriting that contract is to just, like Jason said, come into that beautiful, inspiring space and ask yourself the truth. What is the truth? And if you think about someone who's already living the thing you want, what do they have to believe about life? What do they believe about life? I once did this with Oprah Winfrey, and it was unbelievable going into her shoes and asking myself, like, what does she believe about life? How does she look at life? What's her perspective? It was like, whoa. So that might be a fun exercise as a little bonus there. A
little side note as well. I usually start these with I choose to embody or I choose to live. It's in recognition of to say I am living this already is a positive affirmation, which another part of ourselves already know we're not living it yet. We're not living this place yet. So choosing to embody this, choosing to live this is stating, this is my choice, this is what I declare, and I recognize that this is a process, a journey into full embodiment.
Yes, okay? Beautiful. Okay, so now we're moving to the master key, which is the final step, the 5th step. You've written your TLC. You've clarified it. Write that baby on a post-it note. Actually, this is number 4.
Post it on your forehead, post it on the mirror, post it on your refrigerator, post it everywhere.
Yeah, that's actually the 4th step. Very simple. Get out a post-it note or a beautiful heart-shaped piece of paper, whatever you want to do, and write that TLC down, post it up, and read it twice a day.
Hallelujah.
Literally own it, voice it, declare it, share it. Yes. Okay, number 5.
And ask the universe to support you in realizing it and bring whatever is needed to realize it, to embody it, to you. So then everything in your life that is happening to you after you declare that is part of spirit, the universe supporting you in realizing and embodying this.
Yes. Number 5. You ready? This is the master key. This is really the master key, and this is the everything has been preparation leading up to this piece. So the 5th step is to realize, first of all, we've written the TLC, very powerful, to look at the unconscious, to bring it up to the surface, to clear some things, to declare what you choose. That's a transformation in and of itself. If you truly do that work that we just guided you through, like you might take 30 minutes or even an hour doing that. Now it's essential to put it into practice, right? So it's about taking action that is aligned. And this is honestly where most people will write the affirmations and they'll do the thing, but this is usually where people trip up and they don't actually break through, because all of the challenges that normally come in your way when you're moving towards that thing that you want, or that person that you want, or that reality that you want, all that pattern that is going to come, it just comes back. It's just normal. It's part of life. The challenges come right back. And here's where the shift or the master key is. You either do what most people do, is you go back into lockdown, right? That, or some other form of that, or anger, or a Dana. Or you unlock, you use this master key to unlock. And this is the transformation I just faced that blew my freaking mind, you guys, okay? This is about taking inspired, constructive action, okay? This is why...
This is where the rubber meets the pavement.
Yes. And this is literally why I went so far out of my comfort zone to invest in a 1-year program, to invest in a coach, to invest in myself, to be submerged, to be in a community where people are functioning at a level beyond where I'm actually functioning. These are people who are functioning and thinking and working and believing on a whole nother level, and we're functioning at a pretty dang good level.
Yeah,
however,
really good level.
I knew that in order to reach that next level, I had to do something I'd never done, which is actually to get guidance in my business. I've done it all myself, up until now. Surely joy. There's a goddess I seek guidance and counsel from. So it's really important to ask yourself this question. What are you going to need? Because here's the thing. First, it's important to know what is the pattern that's obviously going to happen again. Okay.
You already know. You've already written down the Groundhog Day cycle, so you already know that that's likely going to happen as soon as you try to step back on. So now you've got to prepare for Groundhog Day coming.
Yes. And this is most people, like all the conflict or the challenges that comes back, and then people go, oh, it's too hard. It's a sign. I shouldn't do this thing. That's freaking BS.
That's just kind of putting a blanket over your head and saying, woe is me. It's never going to happen for me.
That is a total spiritual...
Or the universe is telling me, because there's an obstacle, the universe is telling me not to do it. That is BS, by the way.
I used to believe this, and so I totally get it. And I'd be like, oh, it's too hard. I just shouldn't do this. Okay.
I'll just go where everything flows. I'll go where the river flows, where everybody tells me where the easy path is.
Right. And yes, flow is obviously, when things are flowing, it's a very clear sign. Whoa. Beautiful. However, there is another element. There are certain muscles that need to be built at certain times on our journey. And this is the beauty. So when the obstacle comes, or that Groundhog Day comes again, then it's like, okay, let me premeditate this. Let me expect this. Let me just, if this happens, what am I going to do? What is my plan? And this is where most people flop. They lock down instead of unlock by having a plan in place, preparation to go, this is my game plan. And this is... Okay.
So you need to so what we're asking you to do is set your game plan for when Groundhog Day comes.
Yes.
Okay?
So an example of what Groundhog's Day is every time a particular client, let's say, sets up a session with me, suddenly, as soon as we're about to meet, boom, some drama happens in her life, in her family, in her health, in some area of her life, and she cancels. So she needs to know, this is just an example, that this is like often, this isn't just one person, this happens so many times. So that person, if they were conscious of it, they would go, okay, this keeps happening, this keeps happening, this keeps happening. What am I going to do when the family member calls and says, you have to put out this fire, there's a big drama? So normally what that person does, so the old pattern would be, I'm sorry, I have to cancel this session.
Yeah, I don't know when I'm gonna be able to make this back. And then I may never ever make it back because the unconscious is gonna keep me in those dramas for the rest of my life, etc.
Right. So now the question is, okay, if I really want to take aligned action, if I want to take constructive action, what do I choose? What is that new action I choose to take? Because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing again, expecting a different result. The different result will never come with the same action. What is that new action? So that particular example, that client might say something like, I love you so much, Charles. That client might say something like, yes, yes, I am. That client might say something like, you know what? The drama's probably going to come, something's going to happen, and I'm going to carve out that hour anyway. I'm going to take that time anyway.
And if I know I don't have the strength myself to stand up for that, especially when certain people are pulling and tugging on me, then who can I call on? Who in my community can I call on to support me to stand up for me?
Yes.
Okay.
This is key. Who is
Community.
that? Jason called it the other day. Who is that yes friend, or big yes friend? You know, who is that? So it's really about migrating out of that field of consciousness and going and seeping in. Community is key here, you guys. Seeping in the mindset of somebody who's going to talk you off the ledge, who's going to help you come back to your heart and back to what you choose.
Absolutely. As one of the saints that we have worked with through the lineage has said, 90% of the spiritual path, which is really any path to success, is the company you keep.
The company you keep.
That is your community and the thoughts in your head.
Yes.
And if the thoughts in your head are pulling you down, then you need somebody who's thinking at a higher level than you in the moment to pull you out of that BS.
Yes, and oftentimes it could be a book. Like, Eckhart Tolle has helped me many times. Leonard Jacobson, opening his Journey into Now book. Boom. Okay.
Kaboom.
Kaboom. Kashazam. Okay, all right. So we have taken the LLC, we've brought that to consciousness, we've transformed it to the TLC. You have that up on your wall. You are repeating that. Literally try it just for 5 days in a row, or ideally 21 or 30 days. What happens when you read your new contract with sincerity for 30 days, or just start with 5 days?
And ask the universe to support you in realizing this.
And then the fifth step is to not just ask for the universe, which is essential, but also to take the action. So it's where will meets grace.
Hallelujah.
Grace, call upon something greater. Whatever that means for you, it could be a gorgeous redwood tree. Whatever it is for you, call upon nature, fairies, whatever your God
the
is.
Universe, spirit, whatever you call that magic.
Make space for grace, and then bring your will into it, which is what is that constructive action you need to take in order to activate your new TLC. Okay.
Yes.
So for me, I know that it's when there's a pattern, it takes that let's say it's taken me 40 years to create a certain pattern. It's not going to go away tomorrow, right? So I signed up for a year-long program. I signed up knowing that there's no question it's going to push my edges.
And it's going to take time.
It's going to take time. It's going to suck sometimes, and it's going to be amazing sometimes. So what is that step for you? Yeah. And take action on that.
You need to really set a very clear action step, a clear action step that you can commit to for the next month. Okay.
Yes.
Every day, at least one time a day, if not several times a day, what is one step you can take and commit to every day to support you in realizing this new dream? Yes. No matter how you feel, no matter what you think, no matter what is going on, no matter what's going on with everybody else in your life, you do this no matter what.
Yes.
One master we sit with, he says, I don't care how I feel or how anybody else feels around me, I'm going to do this. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to get this done today.
Does.
And then he gets that done, and he's sick all the time. He's always sick. He feels worse really than sick. Anybody I know physically. Yeah. But he gets more done than anybody else I know because he just chops wood and carries water no matter what. Yeah. So a cold, a flu, period. Nothing is going to stop you from doing this one thing. So whatever it is, make it achievable, something realistic, something that you can do no matter what.
Yes.
Period.
Yeah.
Towards your dream.
Yeah. Sitting in nature for 20 minutes a day, you know, whatever it is for you to just light yourself up. And so the homework is to really put this into practice, is to post that TLC up somewhere. And also anytime you're facing, and read it twice a day, ideally, especially one of those times being right before you go to sleep.
That'll plug it into your
subconscious.
Yeah.
You go to sleep, plug it into the subconscious, and it will definitely affect not only your dream state, but how you wake up the next day. And then to ask yourself this question anytime you, please write down this question, anytime you run up against, you know, that obstacle or the old Groundhog Day or some kind of challenge, ask yourself the question, what would it take to live my TLC now, my new contract? What would it take for me to live my new contract now? And live the answer.
Yeah.
So if you are seeking, you know, support or want to take it a step further, especially in the financial department, we are super excited because this Saturday we're offering the Coach Mastery Lab.
Wow, yes. And it continues. This is the third round.
It's the third round. And the topic, the sequence, the coaching sequence we're offering this Saturday is called How to Shift from Financial Lack into Everlasting Prosperity. So whether you're an aspiring coach, or you have no interest in coaching, but you want to take your personal development to the next level, there are about 6 spaces. We keep this small so that we mentor you directly.
Yep.
And that's this Saturday. And if you register, you actually get access to the last 2 months. Yeah. So you get 2 additional trainings, instant access. And those, it's like a $400 value. And
for signing up this month. Where do they go?
Go to veronicacresto.com. There's probably a link somewhere in the description. I think I threw it in there. And then you'll see in the navigation bar, Coach Lab. Just click Coach Lab and join us.
This Saturday at 11 a.m. PST.
We have amazing souls from around the world, and it's a very private experience. So.
And transformational.
Yes.
And we're going to go deeper and deeper into addressing these pieces that we've gone today and taking it to another level.
Yeah. You actually learn the thing and then the coaching sequence. Okay, so this one's around financial lack, how to unlock yourself and obviously your clients if you want to work with clients or are working with clients. And you actually break out into a virtual room with one of your peers, one of the people in our group, and you actually practice for 30 minutes with them. So you have a breakout session. And then you sit in the client chair and you experience, you can really unpack your own life. So you walk away feeling freer and brighter in your life, and you're learning a powerful coaching skill. And we're right there with you to guide you and answer questions.
Yeah, so you get coached
Valerie Saliniker.
And you learn how to coach.
Yes.
And so you can also be learning the skills to support yourself and others around you.
Yes.
There was one question. Janae brought up the question of what if there's many action steps to take. I think for any of us, it's going to be multiple action steps. What we're asking for is one doable, achievable that you'll commit to no matter what, even if you're feeling like you're not, if you're waning from your intention, from your purpose, you keep chopping wood, carrying water with that one thing. Now, the other action steps, absolutely go for them, but be realistic. Don't give yourself a list this long that you'll never be able to get done in the next day, week, month, year.
No, less is more. One
achievable.
Yes.
Achieve one thing at a time. So if you got that one thing down in the next month, then that keeps going and you add another thing and you keep building on that. And if you add other things in the day that can go towards it, great. But keep doing that one thing that's supporting you. Okay?
Yes. So we're going to complete here. To give you an idea though, my mantra every single day, that's a non-negotiable. That takes me about 45 minutes. So there's no way out of that one. I've been doing it for 2.5 years and yes. But whatever it is for you, you just commit to that one thing. Really good questions, you guys. We love you!
Yes, it's great to be here with you. An honor to share. And join us on Saturday and we'll go deeper.
Yes. veronicacresto.com. Go to the Coach Mastery Lab. Click it. Check it out. And grab one of those last 6 spots. Okay, we love you. And thank you for joining us. And may this training bless you in some way and shine into your life, really help you to unlock your worth because it's already here. There's nothing you have to do to earn it. It's already here. Love you guys.